levels off. Bookmap we have short dated liquidity a little bit higher, but wide stuff the liquidity is definitely skewed south. So I have a 100% win rate now. Nice, Robert. Well done. Yeah, that PC actually came in hot. They didn't come in line. They came in hot. So that's one of the reasons why I do expect bonds to have a little bit of volatility today and yields. A little bit of red here on the Russell. They're getting smoked. Microsoft come down. XLF is coming down. Still holding under 17,700, which is also the pre-market pivot. And we'll see how this thing is going to adjust. A little bit of red. CBD is slightly neutral. Apple getting crushed. Nvidia has got some red. Of course, Google new all-time highs if they have released a dividend of 20 cents per share. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? 20 cents per share is a lot if you've got a lot of shares. I've laughed when I'm reading this. What? 20 cents. 20 cents isn't bad. I mean, if you've got 100,000 shares, that's a great amount of money. It's better than 0 cents a share. It's enough to put that stock in a new all-time high. You know who buys dividend shares? Boomers. You know who has all the money right now? Boomers. Because dividend income is a very big part of retirement. Large red candles here coming off. Down to 17,600. Google saw Meta jump from the dividend announcement and said, write that down. Yep. So right now we have a little bit of a trend line we dealt with on NASDAQ overnight. They're bouncing off of it. We also took out the pre-market lows. The only thing left is going to be the imbalance from 17,548, which is the egregious 200-plus point candle from the Google and Meta or Microsoft announcement last night. Are you going to switch to a higher dividend-paying stocks in your long term when you're getting close to retirement? Honestly, no. My goal is to start building my retirement, from what I've got now. Whether it's dividend payment or not. It's a balance between appreciation and dividends. I'm not a huge fan of dividend income simply because it depends if they're qualified or not, obviously, depending on what type of dividend you're getting. But for me, I would rather have real estate as my retirement. I do not want to count on the stock market to provide for my retirement other than my 401k, which I've already allocated for. For me, my retirement is real estate. Real estate will withstand a lot of pressure. The stock market, when you're getting close to retirement age, will not, in my opinion. Physical assets, yeah, buddy. 17,686 coming back up. Beautiful. Looking around the market here. There we go. Hold on a second. All right, looking around the market here, we have got a very, very green market, obviously, because of what happened overnight. Oh, there we go. Jeez Louise, that's a huge candle. 50 points on NASDAQ. What is that, 60-point candle? Over the market here, we've got a mixture of red and green, but the green is very, very green. Google's up 10.3%, although it gave back about 3 or 4%. Amazon's up 1.8%. Microsoft, Nvidia, the whole shebang. Even Apple was green, but they gave back some of that green there to the red. To play devil's advocate, investing in dividend stocks is easier than real estate. Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's way easier. I'm not saying dividends are bad. Trust me. I think dividend income is fantastic, but it's not necessarily my preferred way for retirement income. But yes, in terms of ease of entry, I mean, it's way easier than real estate for entry, for sure. Large green at the 17.31. What's up, YouTube? How's it going? What was that? 733 right there, right back inside the range. Large green candle to start the day off with. If you go back and look at the daily chart, Obviously that 250-point candle changed things drastically. We had the first qualified VPA qualified buy candle on the daily chart yesterday since probably February. It was the first one since February. It's just very, very aggressive. Not on diminishing volume, increasing volume, and they brought us into 17,800, and on ES it brought us right up into the 5150 area, 5140. Now 5170 is my top end of this range from here going into FOMC, and obviously we have a touch of red to deal with that. But other than that, I still hold thesis that we're going to maintain this little range until FOMC, which is on Wednesday. Can you explain what swing made means? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Swing trade. Like it's about swing trade? Swing trade is a trade that's held for at least one session, overnight. When you're swinging a trade overnight into a multiple session trade. Something that's other than a day trade and a scalp. 17,733 here. IV this morning was about 32% at its height, so it was pricing at a bit of a move today. Right now it has dropped down into the upper 20s, not very much, but in the upper 20s, which is still an elevated IV. So premiums are jacked, IV is jacked more than what we're typically used to, and the VIX is holding 15.44 for now, although still getting crushed. They have pinned VIX down aggressively since the 21 spike last week, down to the 15s. Bookmap needs a tablet app. I would kill it running separate hardware. Yeah, I think the reason why they haven't is because it takes up so much RAM. But I would love to have it. And another data failure here. Is it Tradie Ticks bot down? I don't know. Maybe. I'm seeing some people post some prompts in there. It's not working. With this climb, or how I guess you know how, is the liquidity for 49.60 going to be grappled with, or will it roll off? As long as that remain on the books, which it is right now, I expect that to fill. Whenever I see a large order like that come on the books, it's very rare for that to be completely just disregarded and not filled. Whether it be this week or next. My dad said when you start working at P&G, a lot of people didn't retire because P&G dropped 50% around 2000. Most people have their time in P&G. Yeah. Yep. So, I mean, that's why you need diversification. You want to have stock market, you want to have 401k, you want to have real estate, dividend income, have the whole shebang. You want to have diversified income. Now, yeah, the stock market will always bounce back and trend up, sure. But if you are at retirement age when the stock market happens to crash, then you don't have time to wait the 10 years. Looking at the GEX, let's see what we got. Yesterday it was straddled. Today, April 26th. 50.25 and 50.75, so it's still straddled. Still the same GEX right here. Let's go take a look at the flow. Bullish so far. 0 DTE, yep, still a pin there. So, how much is Tradie Ticks, if you don't mind me asking? $60 a month. Let me verify that. I've got so many freaking things I pay for. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's $60 a month. And then the bot is $200 a month for the Discord bot. Something along those lines. Autocorrect stinks sometimes. Yeah, I always have to autocorrect my stuff. ES coming back into the 51.17. VIX 15.40 still holding. XLF is flat. And NASDAQ is coming back up. 17.760 so far. That's about a 100-point bounce on NASDAQ back to the top of the range. Oh, you're welcome. Ain't no big deal. As long as y'all use it. I had it on there last year, and then no one used it. I think like 3 people a month used it, so I canceled it, and then everyone started complaining. So I brought it back. It's y'all's to use. CVD is slightly green here, 645. ES is 5120 with a lot of icebergs coming on. And just flip the CVD back to 2400. We do have a bit of a trend line here that we are rejecting and bounces off of. It's forming a little bit of a bullish channel, 17,750. we have a bit of a cross current here. One, we've got obviously VPA on the daily chart is incredibly bullish. That's the first bullish confirmation of the VPA in about 3 months on the daily chart. However, we have very, very volatile candles that are whipsawing everything back and forth. We're getting 400 to 500 point moves on the Nasdaq every single day, and it changes the daily chart whole setup from the morning to the close. With IV still maintaining 30%, nothing's off the books. We have liquidity up and down. The skew on the liquidity is definitely down. There's more liquidity down than there is up, especially above where we currently are. Inflation popping back up. Yeah, there we go. I don't need that anymore. Another big rejection on Nasdaq. 40 points back off. The volatility still is a little bit spicy this morning. $51.20 liquidity, Nasdaq. Russell's going back up here. Let's see what we got. Plowing back over. Nvidia's down. Apple's up. I'd love to give me a good, confident swing entry going on here, but man, these candles freak me out. What's up, Pastor? How you doing? The portfolio is made up of 3 ETFs centered on 50%. The other 50% made of blended blue chips. That's almost exactly what my portfolio is. Mostly ETFs, followed by blue chips, big stocks, and then very small speculation, some REITs. Coming back off, getting smoked again. 17,700. Spicy action so far. What's up, DJ? Awesome webinar yesterday. Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad you liked it. CVD just rolled all the way over into negative territory again. And I want to watch where they shift this liquidity here. They've got 51.20 on before I start slinging some positions. On the road again, no trading. Nice. Anyone know how to fix Discord stream audio? I'm on iOS. Worked perfectly fine, but I'm not working today. I don't know. When you have conflicting info, order book skewed down with VPA bullish signals, how do you shift the noise? To me, it always goes back to VPA. VPA is the main emphasis on which I did make a decision. If there's conflicting data, I have to go by VPA because the liquidity book, liquidity is always the baseline for the market movement. Everything else is just a tool on which I can try to gain a little bit more perspective, but it all comes down to liquidity and VPA. Nothing is more reliable than the actual liquidity, not the options chain, not even bookmap, nothing. It's simply what's VPA telling us here, what the candles are telling us, and what the volume is telling us. Nasdaq is getting plowed back down again. Dang. 100 points up, 70 points down. Apple is red. Nvidia's flat. Russell's coming back up. A little rotation into the Russell there. Bonds are going up. Yields are down a touch. Start taking a look at some premiums here. April 26th. Next week, we have major catalysts. A very volatile week approaching. ES is way more bullish this morning. Yeah, they're up, right? I mean, overall, they are less in terms of the P&L. You know, they're up 0.6, Nasdaq is up 0.9, but they're about normal right now. You know, they're both hanging out right inside their range after a little pop and drop here. Yesterday, I got 2 times my daily goal on 3 trades, waiting until I can finish the charts and focus on charts and levels. Nice. Yeah, it's a great fun. It's fine. If you're traveling and you already hit your 2 times daily goal, don't think of it as 2 times your daily goal. Think about you hit your goal yesterday and you hit your goal today. Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. So what time is it? 9:45. Not too crazy of volatility for PCE though. We definitely have a little bit of pop lock and drop it here, about 30 points on ES, but then we've quickly just entered into this range, and I'm still in the ballpark of we're not going to move all that much going into FOMC. Rest of the day today, we do have Michigan Consumer at the top of the hour. It's not a very large event, but it's there, and that should be it for the day. We got a little weak data at 12:30, but meh. How do you read VPA on TradingView? For me, it's all about, VPA is volume price analysis. So it's looking at the price action and looking at the volume that's correlated with each time frame and making decisions based on that. Would you say Bookmap is a good tool to look for liquidity? Absolutely. Yeah, it's the only tool that I use. Well, it's the only liquidity tool I use. I use, Trading Ticks and Spot Gamma for options chain data, but the Bookmap is the only liquidity-driven tool that I use. What's the direction of the market looking like today? Well, right now on the VPA, we have a very bullish bottom wick on the daily chart. And we're holding the trend line so far, so right now the tide goes to the buyers. The buyers are winning out. We definitely have some damage to the order book here, which is happening every day. These moves are so large that there's so much open order flow out there that needs to be taken care of. And right now we have a very large imbalance down into the 50-70 area after filling everything back up. All that to say is I'm going to kind of keep a neutral bias here until we're above 51.35 or below 5100. This 35-point range is just back and forth, and I'll play those bounds until we get out of that range. If we break 51.30, I'll play to 51.70. If we break below 5100, I'll play down to 50.80, 50.70. However, I do think overall that the bulls are going to win out this morning until further notice. My overall theme yesterday is that the daily chart with the bullish setup is that if the bulls could, well, the buyers, I hate using bull bear. If the buyers can withstand the PCE data, I think we'll still have continuation. There's still too much momentum here, not to mention they want to undo the order book that's been happening the past couple of weeks going into FOMC. FOMC will be a major catalyst event, especially if they begin to change their tone on anything and do something unexpected. We'll have a lot of volatility. And you're not going to see weeks of selling one directional movement going into the FOMC because that's too much. The order book will be far too damaged by the time you get into FOMC. So they're going to bounce it. They're going to smoke your puts. They're going to stop out shorts. They're going to roll the volatility back off. They're going to farm your premium. And then they'll reset the books going into FOMC. So that's why right now I'm still looking for bullish action to 51.70. I got my one trade in for the day. Really want to spend the morning with my daughter, so I'll be jumping off in a moment. Nice, a great idea. But I'd like to ask a big favor. When you get a chance, could you please DM a full explanation of your pre-market trade of short 710 without referencing any paid analysis tools? This morning I realized the genesis of my frustration as a trader is that because I cannot afford any of these tools, I feel totally in the dark. Thanks for yeah. Well, that trade was a pure VPA trade. You being tier 2, you should know that there's a macro level right here. So there's a significant amount of resistance there on that NASDAQ chart. Not to mention us knowing how liquidity works with data is that we typically get a very large flow and then it reverses. So already we had a very, very large green candle on the PCE data that immediately began to top wick. We've already got an overcooked book because the market was incredible. NASDAQ's up 500 points in 12 to 18 hours, which is overcooked. So with PCE coming in hot, I was just seeing of what they were going to do with it. So they popped into the 17,800, which was my first target. The second I started to see some top wicks off of prior session and the macro levels, I put on the stop limit, a stop or a limit order at 1710, and it filled. And then I just rolled my stops down until it tripped, which was 17,710. So yeah, it did help that I had a whole crap ton of buy side liquidity sitting at 17,800 on the NASDAQ, or on the Bookmap. But honestly, you don't need Bookmap to see that liquidity. You could use your brokerage's DOM or any level 2 data to see that there's a crap ton of orders at 17,800. Plus, being that there's an 800 level, a 0-0 level, we know there's going to be liquidity there regardless. But that was strictly a liquidity trade of looking for the reversal off the big green. And just like if there was a huge red on PCE, I'd be looking to buy it. Those big moves on data like that typically go back the other way. Now, I don't do stuff like that on big stuff like CPI and stuff, but the PCE, the smaller datas, yeah, absolutely. Then we filled, and I just continued to roll stops until I stopped out. So, you're welcome. Since the week is almost over, do you mind sharing the tier 2 macro levels? I'll do it later today, because I think if this thing goes bullish, I'll have another macro look get tested here. So, what's up, Paul? Thanks, you buddy. Appreciate the support, man. I always appreciate the support and your feedback. I keep hearing to trade SPX, I should be looking at ES. I only have real-time data for SPX, so I should be subscribed to ESCVPA. Yes, because remember, SPX is not traded, so you can't do any kind of analysis on SPX. SPX is an option, is an index of the S&P. It's not traded. That's right, Paul. I am. Yeah, I got to pay for March, man. March was hard. I can't believe I made back all the losses I took from the last 3 months. Beautiful, Jeff. Well done. I think we're going to hit 4750 before the end of June. I was thinking about 4800, but yeah, I'd see it. 4750 is entirely possible. Did you see that one thread on people's P&Ls? I saw the posting. I didn't look at the thread though. I believe it though. I mean, go look on Wall Street Bets on Reddit. I mean, it's horrific, the risk that people play with. They treat this like a casino, and the market treats them like a degenerate gambler. You know the big difference. You know the big difference between somebody, not even a professional, because you can not be a professional and still make money at this, but you know the difference between people who make money from the market, even if it's only a couple $100 a month, and somebody who gets destroyed like the people in that Twitter thread, is that people who make money, it's not that they lose less, it's that they take losses all the freaking time, but they're small. And yet, the people on Twitter take one loss, and they smoke their whole year. That's the difference. I take losses all the time, but there's not a single loss that will smoke my ear. Not one. Because I do not tolerate drawdowns. I can't tolerate it. I'm in my kitchen watching on the TV, living room TV, shut everything down so as soon as I hit my goal. That's nice, Paul. It's a great idea. In racing, we call that checkers or wreckers. I love it. I love it. So we just absorbed the 51.22 liquidity. They had some at 30, but they took that off. They have a little bit more at 51.50. That laddered up to 51.55 and up to 51.80. 51.80 would be my top target for the day if we were to go silly today. Going green right here. Excuse me. Would you mind showing NASDAQ bookmap when you got a sec? Sure. Let's take a look. 17,800 right there. 17,800 is the top liquidity, which will be another retest. This will be the third test of that area, or fourth test of that area in the past 12 hours if we were to get up there. We'll call it 15 hours. To your point, Steve Burns once said, every trade has 4 possible outcomes. Tiny profit, tiny loss, big loss. Yep. Yep. Even Tiger Woods, the golfer, talks about it. You read the book by Hank Haney, Big Miss? You know, Tiger Woods, every time he steps up to the tee, he says, where can I miss and where can I not miss? That's all it is. If you could block out the big miss, you will be successful. Period. It doesn't matter what your system is. If you could block the big miss, you'll be successful. Now, obviously, you can't avoid the big miss unless you know what you're doing to some degree, so you do need a good system. But my point is that risk management beats everything. Risk management beats everything. Nasdaq's coming back up here. I've already shut down my props for the day, so all my trading today will be on my IBKR. And rolling up here to 17,790, looking to at least attack 17,800 on Nasdaq at the moment. Right here. There we go. Flowing up. A good miss in golf is a big thing to go for. It's all about hedging. That's right. I avoid the big profit pretty well. See green, take green. So you can't do that. I want y'all to get in the habit of when you see green, you start managing the trade with a trailing stop. I'm trying to get y'all away from scalping. Get away from scalping and start taking longer term trades. Even if it's a 30-minute trade, I want y'all to start taking longer term trades and not just going for 5 points. Like we're sitting here like slapping ourselves on the back for a fantastic 10-point trade. I don't want y'all to do that because that's not something you can be carry on forever. Get in the habit of trying to take at least 30-minute to 60-minute trades, and in order to do that, you have to pull position sizing back and then utilize trailing stops. Trailing stops are your best friend with trends. It's the only way you'll do it. Does the report from Michigan have any risk on the market? Not really. Not too much. Enjoyed Tier 1 yesterday. I'm looking forward to it. Nice, Kyle. Thanks, buddy. Looking at the macro time frame, I'm thinking 4750 on ES in June before it's over. What do you think? I was thinking 4800, lower 4800s. So I mean 4750 is possible. Coming back up into 800. Nvidia is rocketing here, so definitely looking for Nasdaq to at least touch 17,800, especially with Nvidia doing what it's doing and just riding the flows up. I would say the only side note to that is if you're on a prop firm like Apex with the unrealized trailing stop. Yeah, I mean that's the different thing. I'm trying not to talk too much to the prop firm stuff, but yeah, obviously you have to be a little bit different from that. So Nasdaq flows are strong. Again, looking for 17,800, which they just tapped, and the top target here of 817. If that clears, it's off to the races. But that's a big target we have to deal with. If you are long and can survive the 817, let's call it. I think officially, it's actually 818. Then you can start to look for higher prices. Do I use IBKR web tablet or PC? I use PC, the desktop software. Trader's Workstation. What's up, Vent? How you doing? Good morning, good morning. What are people's thoughts on static accounts? Never done one. At least not with Apex. They're more expensive, but there's no trailing drawdown to my understanding. If they aren't going to let this thing tank NVIDIA back to M, in my opinion, Meta, Amazon, Google, they're all talking about their plans NVIDIA chips, and your future plans buy more chips from NVIDIA as for now. Yeah. Let's look here, 5127. We're still range bound from the pre-market area, and we are top of the hour. We have Michigan Consumer. Dow's climbed back up. Russell has climbed back up. NVIDIA is still exploding higher. NVIDIA is now up almost 4% after opening red. They've gone from 834 to 860 or 857 in 20 minutes. Yeah, liquidity removed from the data, and we'll see what they're going to do here. Ladder up to 51.55. Everything else is removed. Apex static is too tight. You need impeccable risk management. Yeah, if you are someone who is, signing up for prop firms a lot, I would rather you take that $30 to $60 a month and just put it into an account and trade it. Learn your own risk management. I think it sets a bad precedent. 90% of the charts look the same. Since the results of data doesn't drive move, liquidity does, can you surmise what big players are thinking on a macro level and how they respond to data? I hate to use this word, but priced in. It all comes down to hedging. Everything that we talk about and speculate on in terms of liquidity all comes down to hedging. How do the larger institutions hedge positions based on the market movement? Because they're not sitting there speculating that like we do. They're not sitting there throwing on, incredibly large 0DTE positions or incredibly large scalps to move the market. Now, are some of them going to be doing that? Sure. I'm talking about in a collective move. So it's really all about the options-driven hedging parameters that they do. And it's our job to do our best to navigate those markets. In a bullish move, bad data is good data is good. In a bearish move, it's the opposite. Good data is bad news. All those events do is they drive volatility. But the liquidity is still liquidity. The market is still there. It's more of an opportunity for accumulation distribution chains. Absolutely. I mean, look what happened this past week. I mean, bad news, market's up 10%. Good news, the stock's down 8%. So, does a 20% dividend actually merit a blast 15% new all-time high price? No. It's simply driven by liquidity. Prior to 2020, that crap's unheard of. But because there's so much liquidity injected into the market nowadays that these moves are robust, the hedging parameters are a lot more aggressive, not to mention the introduction of 0DTEs makes moves a lot more aggressive. Still holding at 17,800, and as long as the bulls hold 17,800, the buyers do, I look for absorption and climb into the next target. Right here. VIX looks like a falling wedge. 100, nice, Dan. Well done. Everyone needs to go back and listen to the interview OMD with Anna. She straight up says news catalysts are just liquidity grabs. Yeah, liquidity grabs. All right, so still holding over 17 here. So once it absorbs this area, our first target to attack is 817.817. Let's call it 820 to bring in yesterday as well, 820. And if they hold that, off to the races, baby. And this is where you set your stops and you allow the price action to start to expand. Like the manufactured Middle East show. Yeah, it's all just a play. Allow the price action to expand. Nvidia still going, VIX still heading down, and they're still in kill the VIX territory to refresh down into the 14s and off. In case in point, like here at the VIX, man. Look what they're doing with the VIX. They're rolling off the VIX aggressively going into FOMC. Why? So they can reset. They painted a beautiful picture on a beautiful canvas last week, jacking up premium, and they just completely squeezed that juice. Now they shredded it and got them. They're getting a new canvas going into FOMC. They're going to roll the VIX back down into 14 for a mean reversion, kill the premiums, and readjust the book. And that all creates tailwind as puts are sold off in colossal levels, and everything gets bought up. Bottom like everything. And then we get yesterday's catastrophe, your 500-point single candle. $51.40, we have $51.56. NASDAQ is climbing as well. And once they hold this book, I'll look for $17,850. Google's at 9.8. Yeah, they're dropping. They gave back a lot. They rejected 181 down to 171. I'm so pumped at discovering the relationship between extrinsic and intrinsic value of an option and practice selling in the money. I'm prepared to have an assignment. It's cool to see I have another indicator real possibility of assignment. Love it. Very nice. Very nice. Nice little red there. Look at that, rejecting 800. See some tops here. Large red right there. I got 17,776. Where's the biggest momentum here? Let's take a look. Didn't mean to do that. Closed out my tab. There we go. Now I'm back up. 773. Do you think we can hit? Can you hear me, Paul? I've answered that like 3 times. I just want to make sure you can hear me. $786. We've got up to 7,850. CVD is there, still bottom wicking. Russia attacks Ukraine's rail lines to disrupt the supply of United States arms. Interesting. Bottom back up. Looked into butterflies. I don't have confidence in managing them with the system I have in place now. Still holding. That's a big bottom wick. That could have been a sweep right here to go higher. Nvidia is about to take off. And Apple is going 170.6. There we go. If this clears, it's going to be aggressive, people. Just watch out. If it clears the highs, it's going to be aggressive. 805. Along with the headline. Yep. That's a big old VPA bottom wick. So it hasn't cleared yet. I'm just saying, if it does clear the 820, that's when you'll get that squeeze, Momo. Because now we've absorbed a lot of supply with the first attack, and now this will be the 5th attack at 17,810. We had 1, 2 yesterday. We've now had 3 today. This will be the 3rd attack of 810. So every time we touch, we have a clearing of supply. And now this is an aggressive attack. So a lot of pressure on a weakened supply. And if they clear it, you'll get the LFG, let's go, baby, green candles. $17,820. The boom candle. Yep. $840 green CVD clearing out supply again, and this should break that. We have liquidity at the 825. There's another top wick to absorb a little bit more. Still holding. Nvidia is breaking out 861, going to 862. Russell jumped, Dow jumped, XLF jumped. Here's the green absorption into 825. They did just put a new pre-market high in officially. Now they're going for yesterday's highs. And here comes the sweep. I don't want to call it a sweep, not a sweep. Here comes the absorption and explosion. And that did, I think that took out yesterday's highs right there? No, tied it. Still can't get through. Defund the green candles. 17,825. Yeah, I do think we're going to drop to those areas by June, Paul. That's why I want to start building into a PDS. I just have to time it very accurately. Here's another test to keep on pinging against it. Keep on pinging against it. Set your stops. And Manos Erebus. Apple's breaking out here. CVD is pumping to 1,000. The order book is expanding and they're applying pressure. And you're going to have the blip, the boom candle. Another top wick off of it. Uh-oh. That's another top wick. Stupid 5-minute candles. Multiple time frame. Here's another back build. Absorption every time they touch it. 820. 821. 822. There goes Apple. There goes Nvidia. Dow's breaking out. 825. 826. And there's the explosion on ES. Boom. Goes the dynamite. Bleh. Beautiful. New high, new pre-market high, and next on deck is going to be, oh, man. I would look for, let me go through here now. I would look for in the 930, 920. There's going to be a micro pivot. It's not a big pivot, it's a micro pivot, but it's still there. But this is going to open up a lot of highway until the 800s. They just took off liquidity lower. The sell side liquidity they took off here at 17,800, and they've now flipped into support and holding above. So now, if you are long, you need to manage position so we can close a candle over 17,828. That's the next target. Once we close over 17,828, clear skies. You're cleared altitude 17,920. Pull back on the stick, full afterburner, and off we go. Roll your stops. Don't be so tight with your stops. And if you want to catch the trend, Manos Erebus. Go get yourself a coffee. Go grab yourself a nice cup of anisette. A little gabagoo. And off we go. Check your DMs, the link I sent. I'll take a look. NASDAQ is still holding, no top wicks, and still going. So set your stops and take your stop or take your profits where you need them to. Now, once you're deep enough in profit, you can set your stop to lock in the position on what your desired income is, even if it is technically sound or not technically sound. Once you're deep enough in profit, you have the luxury of setting your profit target based on your P&L. But until then, you've got to set it based on technical analysis. So you have to set your stop beyond liquidity. So in this case, do not set your stop at 17,824, 825, 823, because that is where it's going to retrace if it does top wick. You have to set it beyond the prior support. So if it does retrace and a re-attack, that you won't get swept. 10 to 15 points usually Mine is roughly 20 points, 15 to 20 based on my R&R. That's where usually I put my trailing stops. It depends on volatility. It depends on my R&R. It depends on where I'm at in the trade. And then when I'm ready to get out of the trade, or if I'm ready to remove risk, I want to start placing my tops tight. So, how about on ES? Again, it depends. Mine is usually between 5 to 7 points stop loss on ES. Nvidia is blasting. It's now up almost 5%. Made my month on one trade. That's awesome. Well done, dude. Well done. You're welcome, Azor. Yeah, you're welcome. 17837 is top liquidity. Nvidia is still rocket ships. Haven't even looked at the option chain data. Let me go take a look. The market flow is incredibly bullish. SPX GEX right now has shifted to 5105, which puts us right meow where we are. Let's go take a look at the options flow. Num, 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 num. Nvidia is very green. We've got the SPY flow here is actually starting to tip into call selling. So Apple is call buying. Microsoft is put selling or put buying, call selling. What else we have? Yeah, it's pretty mundane out there actually. NASDAQ is still bottom wicking everything. We have 17837 they just removed. So right here with 17837, we have removal of liquidity without it being attacked. So they took out the buy side liquidity here. And now they're going to transact higher to seek out and destroy maybe 850. There's another bottom wick to shift higher. So just absorption after absorption. Nvidia is breaking out. I don't know where it's going to reject. So instead of getting out of a trade, you just roll up the stop. Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy. You have to feel the flow. Ride the carousel up and down and around. Harness good, block bad. Shaiko. 17830. Do I think the Hero subscription with Spot Gamma is worth it? I use that tool from an entertainment standpoint. In my opinion, tracking options flow like that is kind of one of those things that's obvious. Of course, we're going to have strong call buying when the market is raging 500 points. So it doesn't really offer all. There's been very few times when the Hero indicator or even Trady Ticks equivalent tool has tipped me off to a move that I wasn't already privy to. Simply because its options data like that is really self-fulfilling. Where I want to use option chain positioning is long-term hedging parameters based on the GEX, the overall delta of the market, that type of thing. I look at it because it's, I'm just curious. I'm interested to see what the flow is, but it's not actionable to me. Now, there has been some times it saved my butt and stuff like that, because I'm looking to buy puts when the market is starting to rally calls or something like that. But normally it's something I just kind of watch. NASDAQ is still holding 17830. My wife came downstairs, told me to stop screaming. Showed her her profits. She didn't say a dang word. She told me to shut up. That's right when the newspaper ready backhand, Mr. Brony. I love it. I love it. Is your wife Italian like yourself? Are you Italian? I'm pretty sure you said you were Italian, right? Yeah, I thought you were. 100% she is? Nice. Is she like what's her name? The chick from My Cousin Vinny? Have you never seen My Cousin Vinny? Oh, dude, you got to watch My Cousin Vinny. I was about to say that's a classic. especially if you're Italian. The youth. What's a youth? Misheard your story. Here you go. All right, so far, there are 0 candles, if you are long, that should have stopped you out. 0. Everything is still BTD. Everything is still flowing upwards. Everything is still holding over resistance. Unless you're ready to get out of the trade. You could set your stop right up tight, whichever. But, NASDAQ is still holding over the prior high. Is still holding into support. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah. No, I got you. I love how you said, is she like the chick from My Cousin Vinny? My whole family is like that movie. It's crazy. It's my top 10, probably up there with Big Lebowski. Big Lebowski is a great movie, too. The Dude Abides. Still coming off here. If it gives out 815, that's when you start pulling up tight. Multi-DB WAP is at 15.8. I got stopped 4 times at a very wide stop. I'm so frustrated. What'd you take, Damien? Utes? Yeah, Utes. What's a Ute? It's a great movie. 17814 hanging out. CVD there. DXY is very strong. Sorry for a boot noob. I don't know what a boot noob is. The narrow bands of liquidity represent bid ask. Yeah, so this right here is just a simple bid ask. I don't pay attention to this stuff. Might want to throw a fib on the morning low to that recent high probability and get a 50% pullback. Maybe. Maybe. Still holding over the highs here. Citigroup changes the Fed call for 100 basis points of cuts this year. I'd love to see 100 basis points of cuts. I don't know about y'all, man. Despite all the talk and all the yapping about everything else we talk about every day, I'm ready. Ooh. I'm ready for the cut cycle to start happening. Simply because I'm ready to start gobbling up properties. The crap is too expensive. Hundred basis points off of September. Interesting. It's hard to believe that in 3 months it's going to be August. Ridiculous. If they cut rates, property will become even more expensive. You have to realize what's happening to the market for the cuts to come. Everyone thinks that the second they start cutting rates, that people will go, oh, rates are low, I'm going to start buying properties again. It doesn't work that way. It's the environment that supports a rate cut. Kind of like you're not going to use your fire extinguisher until the house is on fire, right? That type of thing. Right now what you're asking to do is go break the fire extinguisher off the wall and start spraying your walls, which are not on fire. And your wife's just going to get mad at you, probably going to throw a dinner plate at you, and you're not going to eat very much gobbledygook for the next couple of weeks. But the Fed is not going to break out that fire extinguisher until your walls are burning down. And at that point, you'll need to do rate cuts in order to support the market. So does George Costanza, yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Four major events in my life: meeting my wife, watching two kids born, jumping out of first C-131, and a Find OM online. I love it. All great events. I'm humbled to be up there with your kids being born. I appreciate you being here. VIX still falling, new low of the day for the VIX, and tailwind for the equities. I think watching the dollar and the bond market will give you a better gauge on when those are coming. Absolutely. We just had a large sell order of 1,000 on ES. Large sell block order. And of course, keep your eye on the actual market. Is NVIDIA. They should change it to, instead of the S&P 500, they should change it to the S&P 1. NVIDIA. Let's see. If they cut rates, does that mean it's bearish or bullish outlook? Historically, when the rate cuts begin, it results in a 20 to 30% drawdown on the stock market. Historically. So, take that for what it is. NASDAQ is 17,830. ES is 5135. How long do you think the initial rate cut for you will last? A couple of weeks. To me, that's just a guess, though. I have no idea. This market is obviously the same yet different. You know, we're dealing with... I almost dropped an S-bomb there. We're dealing with crap tons of liquidity. Way more than we ever have before. So, I don't know. You know, it could be maybe a year. It could be 2 years. I don't know. It could be 3 weeks. The only thing that I'm a little confident on, though, here, I guess saying a little confident is kind of an oxymoron. The only thing I'm kind of looking at here is that they're going to wait too long to cut, and when they do, it's going to there's already going to be blood in the streets, and we're going to have a pretty large drawdown on the equities, which I'm actually looking forward to. You know, people call me a perma bear, but I'm actually I'm wanting the market to fall because I am so bullish. I want to sling shares, baby. That's where true money is made. When you say more liquidity, is that relative to the current market cap? That's a good question. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't done the comparison. I would probably say no, honestly. But what happened after coronavirus, and then of course the injection of liquidity everyone knows about, and it's not being pulled out. If it ever will be pulled out, we're dealing with very large numbers, more so than ever. Not to mention they never even pulled out the liquidity that they injected in 2009. You know, the Fed started a supportive monetary policy at the bottom of the market in 2008 and 2009, and they pulled out a little bit, but it never did, which has resulted in a very large economic boom from 2009 until, you know, aside from a few drawdowns, from 2009 until 2019. 2020 saw the crash. We saw Jay Powell's secondary monetary policy, which shot us into the stratosphere, and here we are dealing with the ramifications of that. CPI went to 9.1%. Inflation is still over 3%. We can't get anything under control. The stock market is putting on insane moves 4 years in. You know, we're still 4 years into this post-corona market, and we're still putting on 500-point days on NASDAQ. It's obscene. Four more years of pause. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So not necessarily more relative to market cap, but you're expecting the market cap itself is unnaturally high. Yeah. Honestly, I've never thought about comparing it to current market cap. That's a great. I'd like to go take a look at it. So, no, bull markets definitely don't swing like that. That's the good thing. There's the pros and cons of a bull market. The pro is that it never stops going up for a decade, 15 years. The con is that volatility is completely gone. There is no volatility. A little bit of rejection here coming off. That's pretty heavy. 5140 came down. NASDAQ dropped from 839. That should have stopped you out. That's a stop out candle there. That's a 50-point candle on NASDAQ. The only reason I asked is because theoretically we can't accurately measure liquidity without a point of relativity. No, you're 100% right. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna bring that into my studies. Looks like a buy-up can last longer than a sell-off. Well, here's the deal. In this is more of an existential conversation in terms of the stock market, because this whole thing is why I do not think we're in a bull market. And I've been very adamant about that for a number of years now, to the tune of a lot of criticism and being called insane and perma-bear and all that stuff. It's simply because when the market is in a true bull market, volatility is low. There is no speculation on 500-point sell-offs on the ES. It's literally up all day, every day for 15 years, aside from a couple of weekly drawdowns every now and then. That's the normal bull market, where the market is no longer in fear. It's all nice and planned out. The pension funds, the retirement accounts, the hedge funds, they're just constantly buying up, investing, reallocating, end of quarter readjustment, and up we go. This right here is all simply shakeout liquidity driven, whipsawing on every single news headline, waiting for cuts, and just all over the place. Yes, the price action itself is incredibly bullish. Yes, we meet the parameters of the 20% bull market, whatever it is. But in terms of price action, this is not like a normal bull market. This is strictly liquidity driven, algorithm, 0DT, all that other crap. Exactly. So for me, what I want to see with a bull market is I want to see this thing flush into the freaking ground. I want to reallocate as much as I can into the SPY, take my hands off for 15 years and forget about it, and let it go up for 15 years and never even consider a short or a put ever again. Went down the rabbit hole there. That's in my, I have to go based on my experience. I didn't trade the 2008 crash. I've studied it. I've been trading for 13 years now, and that's my experience. Now, granted, I did trade in the, one of the best bull markets ever. But, yeah. What's it like to write premium in that environment? There is none. At least there is none that we do here. Covered calls, cash secured puts, long-term calendar spreads, that is it. You know what the best way to write premium against? The only way to do it is to long calls that are far away and short-dated calls against it, which is basically a calendar spread, and then puts against it as well, cash secured puts. That's it. That way, if the market keeps going up, cool, you make money. If the market drops, you get assigned at a lower price and it goes back up. No big deal. So that's it. Yeah. Leaps and monthly calls against them. That's it. But there is no weekly credit spreads. There is no 0DT credit spreads, because you're literally, SPX is $1.50 at the money, $2 at the money. So you certainly can't get credit more than 10, 15, 20 points away. VIX is down to the 8 and 9s, where S&P moves 5-6 points a day. So hedge funds were shutting down because there was simply no money to be made. There was no money to be made. All right. Anyway, we just rejected R3, significant level. Long-term PCS and ratio spreads too. Yeah. They could work, but again, you have to realize premium is very cheap. It's very difficult. So, exactly what agnostic says right there. All right. Let's see here. NASDAQ. Haven't even plotted the morning levels yet, or the morning high and low. Let me do that real quick. I'm sitting there yapping the whole time. $17,668.25. the high is 840.50. So we're dealing with a 160 point range. On ES, we have 5138.25. And we have the low of 5104.50. So we're dealing with a 30 point range, 34 point range. I will ping you as a quid quo pro of all the great posts you've made. Nice. Thanks, Flying Fish. Appreciate you sharing your knowledge. If you were long and got stopped out, what would you look for another entry? All right. So if I'm already, if I wasn't a long and got stopped out, it's kind of like OJ. If I did it, this is how I would have done it. If I was stopped out of a long and wanted to get back in on a long, now you have to play the retest. You don't want to long the high because what if you get double topped reject? So now you have to wait for the breakout and then fail your retest of 5138 on ES. On NASDAQ, it would be 840. So wait for 840 to break out, top wick and retest 840 and long. So, yeah, SPX is already at 5100, which is now where the GEX is. The GEX for SPX is pinned right here at 5100. I can't believe next week's FOMC again. And non-farm payroll. We have FOMC and non-farm, which is substantial. I'll be right back. I have to mute. Y'all make my day, my professional day fulfilled. There are some headwinds approaching liquidity. It's been easy to borrow the yen versus treasury bill for zero interest rate and buy a stock or take the 5% risk trade. Once liquidity flows back to Japan, large source of U.S. funds borrowing against assets is going to disappear. Not to mention, although I think it's a low probability, but if this monstrosity of a capital gains tax bill even comes close to being passed, you're going to see an absolute exodus of liquidity from the market. It'll absolutely tank the market, probably something like 1929. But obviously I don't think it'll pass. I think that's which is weird. I don't know why that would even come up prior to election year. It's almost like they are trying to sabotage Biden's election bid purposely. But big case of J.G. Wentworth. Yep. 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 Still holding up here at 17,829. Alrighty, let's take a look at liquidity. What do we got? We have 5150, 5140, 55, 5120, 5180, 5220, and up to that's nothing. That's only 20 orders. That's nothing. So the last real liquidity leg is at 5220. Down south we have 5120. We have a little bit here at 80. We have 5045. We have still the big cat at 4960. We have a big level at 25. And on down even into the 4800s. That's it. So green candles. New high of the day for NASDAQ, climbing back up. Climbing back up. And rejection. Immediate rejection. They keep rejecting that. They're playing with fire. They better break that thing out. We're gonna retrace. The only reason I'm mentioning it's the Japanese have intervened 3 times in the last 12 hours, and it's immediately being bought back up. They're losing control of the currency. Yeah, look what happened last night. I'm sure you saw it. Some nasty stuff on the yen last night. Yeah, 2 aggressive dumps and immediately smoked it back up. Yeah, he was feisty. USD, JPY. Let's try that again. US 157. It's crazy looking at that thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm trying to figure out how that helps me entering a trade. Well, if you actually correlate and plot the JPY up against ES and then actually bring in like the Caterpillar's chart and actually kind of tie that together, and then if you go look at the lunar solar pattern on NASA's website, you'll be able to define where that liquidity is. I'm just speaking out of my butt now. Right now, all I'm looking for at the moment is how we're dealing with this highs. You know, the buyers are going to have to get above this support, this resistance here. Otherwise, we're going to reject and retrace, maybe even back to that low of the day here. We're up against resistance. We had the initial breakout, but every time we tap it now, we're top wicking. Top wicking, top wicking, top wicking. So that's why I'm saying if you're not already in the long, you need to wait for the breakout retest. Otherwise, you're going to risk getting rejected here if you're trying to put on a trade. And we're doing a little yapping. I bought 6 trees from a nursery and all of them died. I'm getting my money back today. A little bit of red here on ES. Did I water them? I did. Unfortunately, I use electrolytes, though. I put Brondo on my trees because that's what plants crave. And they all died. I already in the second and third long range put after alerts and buy orders hit for expected lower. I don't really have the ability to manage your time better now. Entries to set alerts, targets, and channel. I mostly just keep the Discord in a single headphone for further information and learning. Nice, nice Kennedy. New Brondo is coming. Put banana skins. I don't think they're going to help now. They're crispy now. But I'll put banana skins next time. We do compost. So 15-minute here, we're rejecting 17,840. On the 3, 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, all the short time frame stuff here, we are pinning up against this resistance with top wicks. So the buyers are going to have to do something, or the sellers will refresh the book to some degree. For the lunar comment. I love it. So the red level at 5140 shows there's selling pressure. Well, there's going to be buy-side liquidity here. We've got a little, we had some green up into this area. We do have the main liquidity on the short term up to 5140. But so far, it's not transacted. We're just not really moving too much right now. Yen weakens past 157 per dollar as the slide accelerates. Interesting. Japanese yen futures. Whew. Sweet sassy molassy. Go look at the daily chart of the yen futures. I mean, in the past 3 years, it is obscene. Absolutely getting crushed. DXY, let's go take a look. I haven't looked at DXY today. DXY is climbing hard here too. Yeah, big time, big green candle up into 106, which is not going to help the cause. Let's go take a look at the yields. Yields are red for now. Yeah, VIX is 1536 and holding. "61% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck," per a Financial Technology Association survey, which probably surveyed 16 people. That's right, Richard. Right there. All right. ES has been pinned to the top 5130 area for going on 40 minutes now. So what are we going to do? NASDAQ is holding 841, about to put another high in. Was that an endorsement of Biden economics? New high of the day, NASDAQ. Pooyah. $849. I'm just reading some tweets of my people I follow. All right. The yen is crashing. Just blew against 157. Why is this important? Because the U.S. yields have been climbing due to accelerated inflation. Fastest hiking cycle in history hasn't worked as expected, and Fed is now desperate. In a normal world, the Bank of Japan would raise rates here to protect the collapsing yen. However, the Bank of Japan can't really afford to hike rates meaningfully with 265% debt to GDP ratio. If they did decide to hike anyway, it would simply send United States yields even higher. Japanese institutional investors are the largest foreign holders of the United States Treasuries, which would then be selling to reinvest back into Japan. A repatriation. Terrible spot. The Bank of Japan is currently sitting on their hands and watching the yen collapse, doing nothing. Interesting. Liquidity up to 51.40, still holding NASDAQ new high of the day. ES is climbing 51.30, but not really moving too much more than a point or two at a time. The humor here energized me, mystified by the posting speed of GIST by fellow Elm members. Yeah, thought it's generational edge. Fastest gun in the West. A boomer anatomy. Highlight of my dancer was Robert posting high school class senioritis mood photo. Not trading, just the little things. I love it. It's about, man, having fun. Community. It's good stuff. Another rejection. That is now another rejection after attempted breakout. That's why you don't play breakouts. Right here. And it didn't even retest, it just collapsed. 51.31. Can NVIDIA hold the 866.53? If this candle fails, it could be spicy for NASDAQ. Could be spicy for NASDAQ. 17.827. Right here. Rolling back over. This may turn out to be one of those Soros moments of big players betting against the yen. I think we'll look back at these times in 50 years and realize this was a big time in history. I think you will too, Robert. And hopefully I can be a part of those memories. Ooh, I might speculate on some shorts here if this thing breaks. Tempted to open up my brokerage again, but I'm not. I'm going to leave my IBKR. How'd you know my name was Robert? I traded by myself without a community for years. I have learned a ton here, but community aspects has truly changed my day-to-day for the better. I didn't realize it was a bit lonely trading by myself. It is a bit lonely. It's very lonely. I love it, man. I'd be lying if I said I didn't get good enjoyment out of trading with y'all as well. Some of y'all just grind my gears. I'm struggling with options selected for SPX. Can't seem to figure out strike or DTE. How do you like to trade? Are you short-term trading, scalping, swing trading? Scalping? All right. Get away from zeros. Do not do any zeros. Do weeklies. So you turn 50, 60% losses into 10 to 15% losses. Past, yeah. So that's the first thing. In terms of picking out a strike, by the way, that bottom wick right there, back above the liquidity. In terms of strike, it all depends on how aggressive you want to be in the option chain. Deeper in the money you go is less risk. Further out from the money you go is more risk. Oh man, breakout on NVIDIA or NASDAQ. Well, both, whatever. Exploding. Had that backwards? Yep. If you go far outside the money, premiums are super cheap, but you're going to a lot more theta. And of course, you don't get that delta explosion until you get closer to the price. You're going to make more money when you're right, but you're going to lose way more money if you're either wrong or not right enough. $17,862. You're welcome. 17,862 there. YM is coming up. Nvidia new high of the day and blasting. Again, bottom wick central. Multiple time frame analysis here. Now that candle turns into a large green engulfing on the 30 and 15 with a hammer candle follow on here on the 5 coming into the top of the hour. What do I think of Intel? I think long-term Intel could be a good buy. I still don't understand the concept of prop trading. Why not just trade with your own money if you're good? What's the benefit of having access to other accounts? Is it so you could put on loser trades you wouldn't put on in your main? For me, the only reason I trade props is leverage. Or it's like I'm tempting to put on leverage, I should say. That's it. The other use for prop firms is if you don't have enough liquidity to trade your own, it allows you to trade with some sort of possibility to make money. It is a little bit attractive to me because when the music stops and we get away from scalping, I'm going to be liquidating 75% of my of my day trading portfolio to put into my long-term port. So it'll allow me to do a little bit more trading while not utilizing the capital I've been using. If I can make it work, of course. Apex is a pain in the butt, but if I can make it work. That's the only reason why I do it. Another bottom wick. That was another red candle back to 847 and instantly bottom wicked. Oof. BTD is strong. It is, yeah. I was watching a clip of Chris Christie. It's terrible. Yeah, I appreciate Flying Fish analysis, man. It's great stuff. Great perspective. Kind of grinding up here. I don't see another good entry here. It's just been very wicky. Red candle bottom wick, red candle bottom wick. And we'll see if we can get a retest here of 840, which we kind of already have there. Just a little bit more robust than I expected. I thought for sure we're going to roll there. Well, they're definitely not giving up without a fight here. And new highs for NASDAQ, still grinding up. In fact, we're up, heck, from 668 to 854, so almost 200 points on NASDAQ. Again. Didn't even know DAX and Microsoft and Google ain't rocketed hard. Yeah, it's up hard. Sell side liquidity removed. Let's go take a look at the data. Again, we have strong put buying on the call flow. See, this is, maybe this actually does play out, but right now, the options flow tool is showing heavy put buying and call selling. So if it plays out, we'll see on SPY. On QQQ, it's showing call selling and put selling. So no buying on the calls. Let's go take a look at the GEX. See it shift away from 5100. Nope, 5100. A little bit up to 5125, but overall 5100, 5105 right here. That's why ES is back and forth right here. NVIDIA putting on some red. $17,852. CVD is still climbing. You see the buy pressure is still going up here. You see the buyers are still just hitting this thing hard. From 1950 up to 2100 here, and about to put another high of the day in for NASDAQ. Boom, blast, new high of the day. Just killing it. Yeah, this is flows, man. 858, 859, NASDAQ is going, NVIDIA is going, new high of the day. Blasting. 865, 867. Do I ever trade 0DT butterflies? No, I don't write any 0DT premium. Not anymore. Down to 844. The VIX is still holding 1534. Was there bad forward guidance? Yeah, probably. All right. Can ES jump on board here and go? TLT has fallen back off again. VIX is still holding and actually going a little bit green, but the flows are still going here, still up and up and up. NVIDIA's going. Apple just broke out again. They're up 3%. No, they're up 0.8%. Microsoft is up 3%. New high of the day for NASDAQ. Explosive. All right, well, let's go take a look. Where is this thing going to go? So far, we're up a measly 220 points, which is obviously not enough. And now we've retested and popped, and I'd look for our last target of about 940 on NASDAQ. Still going, squeezing higher. Exploding. Breakout candle here. Into the next area. Man, nasty. Crazy, man. Crazy. $850 points this week on NASDAQ. No pullbacks except one day. After shooting through on the way down, we've been testing this VWAP from January. Made it significant to me because I rejected in the middle of the night with no liquidity. Can you comment on your thoughts about anchored VWAP? I personally don't use it. I use regular VWAP. You know, the thing about those lines is that, you know, on all time frames across all analysis, there's always going to be a line that works. There's always going to be a pivot off of a line, and you don't know which one to play, which one not to play. That's my thing about that. If I had to choose a line to keep on there permanently, it would be VWAP. I mean, I'm not an anchor VWAP for me personally, but yeah, VWAP. Man, NASDAQ is really breaking out here now. Booyah. Exploding. Going even more. Now we're turning into a squeeze. This is going to squeeze higher, and you're going to see a gigantic sweep candle above this supply after sitting here for so long. We pinned flat for about 30 minutes and then blasted. NVIDIA's blasting off here too. We have another ridiculous green day. And NVIDIA's up almost 6%. Google's 10%. LLY is 2%. Microsoft is 3.3%. Meanwhile, inflation rises. I've used it for pinches. There you go. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. 878. Taken off without me. I don't like it. I don't like it. $879. Another top wick. Another sell side. No bueno. Another large red flow. VIX is still holding 1530. That will probably stay flat going into FOMC. I don't see him dropping too much more after that. IV is still high. We're running hot, man. We're running hot. We haven't really seen a pullback in 500 points. Going on 600 points. Exercise, exercise, exercise. Tornado warning. Accountability. Love those texts. All right, well, now I'm looking to see if I can get in before this thing takes off without me. A retest of 840. I was hoping it didn't explode too far without giving me a retest, but there you go. How would you go long here off the AM high? A pullback to 840, bottom wick hold, and then go long. That's what I love. Now, honestly, we did get a test of 1050 there, but that's a little too aggressive for me there, because that thing dumped over and then immediately bottom wick back up. So not optimum, but whatever, man. It's one of those days. I have a friend who bought Zim because he hooked 120% dividend, ended up giving the dividend, but the stock went down 70%. Oof. Another red candle bottom wick, shifting liquidity down to 838 from 844. But another red candle bottom wick there, still not a good entry. So, right here. Can I show my IBKR order entry if that's okay? Currently not in a trade. Watching initial bounce, high bounce in the ES. That's what I'm looking for. $870. And crayon, I love it. It's the best way to do it. 148% dividend yield. Wow. I love it. Nice juice box. Yeah, that bottom wick would have been where to go. Just as too aggressive for my taste for that stuff. Where's my TP? In the bathroom. We have a closet that we keep the unused stuff, and then we put what we need in the bathroom. No bidet for me. Where's my take profit? I'm currently not in a trade, so I don't have any take profit right now. I love it. I love it. All right. 867. NASDAQ is getting crushed so far. Giving all that back, I'll look for a test of. I'd love to get an 810. ES is coming off. I'd love to get a test on NASDAQ of 840. ES is starting to give back a little bit here. Another rejection in the morning. Where would I take profit if I were in a trade? If I were long NASDAQ, I would not give up 840. I'll say that. If I were long NASDAQ. I'm currently not in a trade, but if I were, I would not let it go beyond 840. So far, they're getting smoked. Smoke. Keep a close eye on NVIDIA, too. NVIDIA's leading the way up, but they'll also lead the way down if they sell. Unfortunately, you do have to have a lot of market awareness on that name. Nice little red. 17,855. Dropping back off. Look at that. Getting smoked here at the 840 test, hopefully. And a couple of points. They just shifted that liquidity. Do you see the managed liquidity, though? That's now 3 times they've managed that 837 liquidity. They had it 842. They shifted down to 837, and now they've done it again. They've done it again. Down into this level here at 843. Still coming off. Is that now liquidity sweep in the 15? Yep. On NASDAQ here as well. Both of them. 842, 843, dropping. Nvidia hasn't even started selling yet. Man, look at that. What a rejection. Amazing. Amazing. That's why you don't trade breakouts without retests. Incredible. Incredible. Patience. Freaking patience. 5100 test SPX coming right now, considering with top wicks. Yep, we just dropped back below it from 5096. Man, it's still going. Lovely. Still coming off. 821. Nvidia start to drop there. There's a little bit of a bottom wick. I front ran a bit but held through the small loss, now looking decent. Nice piece of tripping, Mike. Beautiful. Yeah, VIX didn't pop very much. Right now they've got a little green coming back up there. 1551. And NASDAQ is giving some back. Giving some back. Let's see where that puts us. 17,825, they just filled out that last liquidity right there, which was triple managed. So I'd love to see that filled. We talked about this on the Webinar Pro yesterday, that when I see managed liquidity on the book, that shows activity. And it was thrice managed. Right here, it went from 842 to 837, and they shifted it again right here to 840, and then prompt dump back over. Good stuff. So I opened some spread last week, 30 days out, 525, 530 CCS. Every move up I defend with options overnight with futures if needed. Has been pretty good. Beautiful. I love it. Don't expect much, but maybe back down to the bottom of the range. Oh, man. I wouldn't go that far so far. This market is, I mean, look right now. We're bottom wicking the crap out of this candle. So I wouldn't go for bottom of the range just yet. First, we have to break below the morning range and hold it. Once we get a closure under the morning range, then we could start having that discussion. So I think it's a little too early yet to jump on the bear train that fast just yet. But just first, we have to close under the morning low, under the morning high to do that, and you need Nvidia to follow along. But the VIX is playing along. Bought an SPX 5100, put it R2 with a $1 trailing stop. 46% on the position, made back my loss. Nice, Damien. Well job. Good job, buddy. Good job. NASDAQ is already buying the stuff back up so quickly. 840 into 837. Here's another retest of the morning high, which we're promptly rejecting. We just tapped it, gave a little tap tappy, and then top wicked, rejecting back over. And already failing back over. Nvidia's coming off. TLT is getting smoked. The bonds are coming all the way off. VIX is still going higher. 17,830. Still going green. It all comes down to the morning high. If they recapture the morning high, business as usual, go to new highs. If they fail it on the 15-minute scale, then we might consider playing some downside into the 770s. But it all comes down to the morning low. Right now, they're still bottom wicking everything. So just got to be patient. Free pretzel topping. No thanks, I'm good, bro. I will say, so far, the options flow tool working pretty well today. SPY was showing put buying up here and call selling. And, you know, SES is a little bit more bearish here than the NASDAQ. Apple dropped back over. Nvidia still no selling. NASDAQ is still buying back up. We have a little ascending wedge, though, on NASDAQ. So watch this little 5-minute. We have a 5-minute little bounce here into the morning high. I think you have to get below VWAP before you can think about going short. That's way too far. Way too far. If you wait for VWAP, you're going to be waiting a long way before you start shorting. I'm all 5-figure day. Nice lib. Well done, man. That's an awesome, awesome feat. Congratulations. Enjoy it. Close it down. Enjoy your weekend. And enjoy that 5 figures. Take some out. Take some out. Withdraw the money out of your account and enjoy some of it. Buy some Mexican pizzas. Dumb question. So you layer bookmap over trading view chart, correct? I'm going to figure that the most. This is just for streaming purposes, so you can see both. I have trading view to the right and bookmap to the left, but I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't streaming, and I would just have this whole thing as bookmap. NASDAQ is about to overtake morning high and go back up once it captures morning high again. So we have to wait for this 5-minute candle to close here in 1 minute. And then we'll have the immediate cycle shift on the next candle at 11:20. But so far, NASDAQ is buying the entire thing all the way back up. Right above the morning high and business as usual. We had one single red candle on NVIDIA. Is it possible to get options chain data on bookmap format? No. Anytime I have a big win, I take some out. I smoked my monthly goal on that swing put. Take some out. Take some out. Make it real. Huge green candles all the way back up. $17,851. Let's see. Going back up, recapturing morning high. Nvidia's going back up. VIX is still holding their thing. CVD is 1200 green, baby. Just give me something other than chop. That's all. Something other than chop. Apple's top wicking. Nice little engulfing red. ES is at session POC. Yep, right here. Another failure. Ascending wedge failure. Below morning low, morning high here. You see what I mean by VWAP though, Rando? Is that if you wait for VWAP is 50, 60 points down here. If you wait for that, I mean you're going to be so far down, your risk reward is going to be way diminished. Thoughts on today's data? Same old thing we've been seeing. Increased inflation. Another red candle coming off. Bonds are getting hosed. So we do have a bit of a data environment shift here. Bonds are getting smoked. Yields and DXY are climbing back up again. You know, 2 years approaching 5% again. VIX is heading back higher. We're holding under the morning low or the morning high here. So we do have a bit of a sentiment shift. A little bit. Not to say still you should go start slinging puts. But I'm saying that we have now failed again the morning high, and we could start retracing down here. So start to build your confidence a little bit back the other way, just a little, and keep your eye on NVIDIA. Out for cigarettes. Love it. Y'all wild. DXY is doing its thing. A little bit of red. $5,000 in principal to play with. What are the best practices of this level of investment? Should I enter positions on percentage of portfolio, or does not matter at all at 5K? No, definitely. Keep it to less than 10% of your portfolio should be invested at any time. If you're doing 0 DTEs, 1%, which I would recommend you do not do 0 DTEs. But if you are, less than 1% of your account needs to be invested. I would feel better about continuation if we had retraced more of that post-earnings pop. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we retraced half of it. We got half of it out, but I'd like to see that imbalance filled all the way to 550. Any play I take from here on out will be smaller position size, 2 MNQs. The market have a lot of cross currents going right now, but I'll still play a VPA setup. Beautiful. I like it. Pulling back the position sizing ensures that you will keep your profits. That's a great idea. Love it. How many props do you have, and what form do you recommend? What firm? I personally recommend Top Step. I have Top Step now. I'm in the process of building 7 funded accounts on Apex. In my opinion, I've had much better success with Top Step simply because of the rules. It's much easier, but to each his own. Apex allows you to do 20 accounts, which is phenomenal leverage. So it's really up to you. Nice, big boy. Great questions. It's a liberating experience to move on from P&L and focus day to day. Love it. Thanks, Bandit. You as well. Another top wick here. I don't like whipsawing price action. Come on now. Not good follow through for this follow on event. What time is it? 11:25. 5 minutes till Fed or till Euro. Biden says he will debate Trump on the stage. Good. That'll be interesting. Pause. 17835. I'm working on evals now. Just got to do the first XFA. Good. Keep it up. Keep it up. Slow and steady wins the race, Bandit. Slow and steady wins the race. This weekend, I want you to go out, buy yourself the book called Tortoise in the Tortoise in the Hare. Tortoise in the Hare. Holy crap! I can't even say it. Read that book. Best trading book you can have. Curtis and the Tortoise. Yeah. Portis in the Tear. I don't know. All right. Bonds got smoked again. 88.25. TLT VIX is up. RTY came off. The only thing that really hasn't sold is Nvidia. Tortoise cheated. Jeez Louise. 17,838. So Bank of Japan selling bonds for a year. Yeah, they started innovating yesterday, and it was bought up. I'll get it this weekend. I was joking, by the way. I was joking, but I mean, heck, if you haven't read it, it's about steady win beats fast arrogance. That's what I'm going to call mine. That's what I'm going to call my book. The Jabroni and the Hare. The Jabroni with no hair. I think I'm going to crowdsource the name of the book. I'll have some sort of contest to let y'all pick the name of the book. I'll give you a shout out. Oh man. All right. I'm going to be on here for about another 10 minutes and I'm going to call it a weekend. We got a very busy week next week. I expect to be doing a lot of streaming. Let's see. Wednesday, FOMC day. I will not be streaming in the morning. I will be streaming the entire afternoon. So be ready. There will not be a morning stream on Wednesday, May 1st. I'll come online roughly 11 o'clock or so Central, 12 o'clock Eastern, and I'll stream the entire afternoon. Please. Yeah, only Bookmap. Yeah, and we'll stream the rest of the afternoon. Bodie McBoatface is a cautionary tale. Make sure you want the internet to decide the name of something. Well, I'll still choose it. You know, I'll still choose it. I won't let you pick like GameStop Bro. Bookie McBoatface. Yeah. Thanks, big boy. Appreciate it. I prefer the Leroy Jenkins method. Heck yeah. There is 1 minute. We got Euro. No Jabroni trading. I'd love to incorporate Jabroni to the moon and back an option story. The first line of the book is, ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar. Zen of Art, have VPA trading. Oh, I like that. Gracias. I come back to broke back options. Oh my gosh. Oh man, if that would keep me off the Forbes bestsellers list, I would do it. But I would ensure I would never make that list. That's hilarious. Boogie book book face. I love it. That's already taken. That's a real book. I thought you put it in like AI or something like that, and it popped out. I love it. Unburdened by what has been. That's the name of the book. Yeah. Every chapter name of the book is gonna be some sort of inside joke for the community that only y'all will get. The rest of the world's gonna be like, why is he naming chapters of the book this weird? This weird stuff. Mufasa. Oh, I forgot about him. I forgot about Mufasa. Man, I wonder how he's holding up. Musical chairs. I love it. My wife would be annoyed with silent chuckling every night. Neo puts. I would definitely do it. The Mexican pizza. Love it. How to make water droplet noises? Are you still in a trade? Jeez Louise. Y'all kill me. We have a lot of inside jokes. I love it. That's a good thing. We like to have fun. Which trading book were you referring to, The Hare and the Tortoise? It was a joke. There's a child's book called The Tortoise and the Hare. It's about the tortoise who runs really slow, but he's consistent and never stops. The hare runs super duper fast, but stops all the time, is arrogant, lays down, takes a nap, and the turtle ends up winning. So the concept is, with trading, as long as you're slow and steady, you're constantly applying yourself, you're learning, you're going to win the race. Would it be possible for you to get Linda on one of your calls? I'd love to. I'll reach out to her to see if she'd be willing to do it. Yeah. Old and Rashke. I'm very scared to do it, honestly, because I know one of y'all are going to bring up Nashky Rashke, and I don't want to have to explain that to her. I'm dreading it. I know you won't, RG. I talked to Linda a few weeks ago. Very nice. Really? How'd you do that? Shout out to the community. That's right, Luke. Stick with the truth. I doubt she'd be offended. Yeah, I think she'd like it. She seems like a very playful person. So, and it's definitely not about her. It's simply because it rhymes with her last name. I went down the Linda rabbit hole. It's hilarious. She's like, I don't mind. I tell you my exact system setup because 99% won't be able to execute or follow rules. Yep. Any tips for sticking to losses? I keep messing up and hold losses for a long time and mess up. You have to be willing to get out. I mean, there is no other. And, if you are going to be success or try to be successful in this endeavor, you either control your losses or don't waste your time trading. A a little bit of tough love is that you can either continue to get punched in the face or you can actually start to make a change. There ain't no thing to do it except just to do it, you know? Now, how you do that is you set a trailing stop that you do not touch, you set a stop loss that you do not touch, and you set a technically defined exit on the chart that you do not deviate from. It's difficult to do in an online setting because people always hold you accountable, and they love to rub it in your face. Trust me, I've been doing this for 3 years. You have to have very thick skin to be involved in a trading community. So, regardless of who says anything to you, regardless of what you think and what you fear, you set a stop loss or a trailing stop or a point of which you're going to get out, and you do not deviate, period. $17,900. Yep, big liquidity. We are still on puts, right? Right now, I've got nothing, Rocky. I love it. Is there absorption at lower time frames as well? Yep. Absorption and distribution accumulation happens across all time frames at all times. Any message boards or voice chats for the community? Yeah, if the Discord server has a main chat, in fact, I'll give you a little. I'll show you if you don't know. Right here. So this is our Discord server. So we've got our Scream Discussion channel that we talk, have fun in. Right now we're kind of just shooting the crap because there's not much going on. And then we got Tradie Ticks bot that I let people. I have the Tradie Ticks bot I offer for the community, so you can use all the Tradie Ticks options data. We have a trading roundtable where people post their own setups for the community, where you could learn from each other. Futures trading, where you want to do some futures trading. Member analysis, where people put their own analysis in. CJ's last one in there. Stream discussion, and then the stream analysis, where I put my stuff, my levels, my stuff, links, important data, trades, signals, where I put my stuff, and a lot of other stuff where we like to have fun. Right here. All right, we're pinned. Could you please review Goog intraday chart? Do you see any further upside from past data? Markets usually test pre-market highs and lows. If that's the case, Google pre-market high was 18186. Well, you know, Google rocketed to new all-time highs. Gapped well beyond new all-time highs. So, aside from a retest of 160, there's not much to go off of. Not much to go off of. If you go back to other earnings, it typically retraces back to the earnings and then goes forward. Now that would be a pretty big fall for Google, but it has precedence. If you go back to January earnings, they tanked, came back up and retested, and then tanked again. If you go back up to October, they tanked, and over the next few weeks, months, came up and retested their gap, and then fell back over again, etc., etc. So, if history were to play a part, Some long-term puts on Google would retrace us back down to 160 before a hold. Not to mention, I do think the S&P will fall to 4,800 by June anyway. At which point you could long 160. Know what I mean? We have an incredible, can't forget the memes channel, yeah. We have an incredible amount of volatility next week, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing not go too far from here until Wednesday. Plus or minus 50 points on the ES, plus or minus 150, 200 points on NASDAQ into Wednesday. Barring anything happening over the weekend, which right now the market's not pricing in anything. But I'm going to start wrapping this up. Any questions? Either on YouTube or the Discord. When's 5,200? Yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Legendary. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Had fun as always. Hope y'all made some money. Some people making 5-figure days. You're welcome. How do you come back from big losses? Slow and steady. Figure out what caused you to take the big loss. And I'll go ahead and give you a hint. It's not even due to the fact of technical analysis. It's because of position management. I don't care how bad your technical analysis is or your strategy analysis is. Taking a big loss is 100% on risk management. I could have the worst analysis in the world, and I still won't blow up my account on any one trade, that is. As long as you have proper risk management. Now, coming back from that, you have to understand that and start to put into place. First is the acceptance that you're not going to get it back in one day. It may take you 2 years to get it back. You have to accept that and then break it down, risk management, and go forward. Go forward. How's the eval and funding in layman's terms in Apex work? Use the 50K account, for example. The eval is the trailing drawdown, normal stuff. So the 50K account, I think it's $2,000 drawdown, $2,500 with a trailing drawdown. If you pop it, obviously you have to reset. Once you pass, which you can do in one day, you get a funded account, and the trailing drawdown continues until you hit $50,100 or schmeckles, and then it stops there. And then after that, it's clear skies. If you are Tier 2, we do have a Zoom call this weekend, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. I'll post the exact time. I will tell you, I probably will be shifting the time or even the day of the Zoom 2 calls in the summer, because as the day gets longer, I have a lot more to do, especially now that we have a new farm on the summertime. So we may shift the day or a different time, at least maybe do it in the mornings or something like that. But as of this weekend, it'll be the Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. So be ready if you are Tier 2. If you want to talk about anything or any kind of curriculum specifically, post in the Zoom call channel, and I will build some questions and time to talk about what you want. If not, I have a curriculum I'll go over. Another question, does one need to watch the market the whole day waiting for the right setup, or can one just trade the 9:30 to 11 Eastern and call it a day? I do not think not only do I think it's detrimental to watch the market the whole day, I think it's a complete waste of time. So it's either hurting you or it's not making you anything. So I personally think it's a terrible idea to sit here and watch this chart all day. Some of y'all, I see you typing in here from 3 o'clock in the morning until 1600, which I don't know how y'all do it. And my eyes are crossing after 4 hours. So if you are going to short-term trade and scalp and stuff, day trade, get your one trade in, your two trades in, try to get it in before 12 o'clock, and then GTFO. and forget about the market. In my opinion, quality. It's about quality of life, man. It's about quality of life. You don't want to sit at the computer all day. Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Appreciate that. Great stuff. It's about quality of life. I was burnt out in 2018, 2019, and I was ready to give it up. I hated it. And then because it was a grind, those years were grinds. So I'm telling you, man, if you do this any kind of long period of time, I'm sure other people who've been longer than me can attest. This is a grind, and if you grind yourself out every day, sitting at the chart all day, you will not do this long because it's not a fun life if you do this all day every day. Get your 1-2 trades in and get out. So, good questions. Or built different. Yeah. Now that is true. That is true. 100%. All right, y'all. I'm calling it a day, calling it a weekend. I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of the day. Let me know if you have any questions. Get ready for a very aggressive week next week, mainly Wednesday through Friday. So rest up. Don't blow up your account today. Wait for next week. And then don't blow it up even then. Love y'all. Have a good rest of the day. I'm out. See you.